She married him for money, but discovered his secret. When Clara Bennett agreed to marry the wealthy businessman Edward Whitmore, everyone believed they knew exactly why. Edward was nearly 30 years older than her. He owned several companies, lived in a huge mansion, and his net worth was rumored to be millions. Clara, on the other hand, had grown up struggling. She worked long hours at a small cafe, barely making enough to pay rent. So when Edward began visiting the cafe every morning and slowly grew fond of her, many people assumed Clara saw an opportunity. And honestly, part of that was true. Clara had spent most of her life worrying about bills. The idea of security was something she never knew. So when Edward eventually asked her to marry him, she said yes. But after the wedding, Clara quickly noticed something strange about her new husband. For someone so wealthy, Edward lived surprisingly simply. He didn't throw extravagant parties. He didn't buy luxury cars every year. Most of the time, he spent his days quietly working in his office or leaving the house for long, mysterious trips. At first, Clara assumed he was simply busy with business. But then she started noticing something unusual in his study. Stacks of letters, dozens of them, all addressed from children. Some letters had drawings of houses and hearts. Others had messages like, "Thank you for helping me." Confused, Clara asked Edward about the letters, but he gently brushed it off and changed the subject. Still curious, Clara decided to follow him. Edward drove nearly an hour outside the city and stopped in front of a large building. Children were playing outside. It looked like a school. Clara watched as Edward stepped out of his car. And the moment the children saw him, something incredible happened. They all ran toward him. Some hugged him, some shouted his name. Others proudly showed him their drawings. Clara stood frozen. She didn't understand. When Edward finally noticed her, he walked over with a calm smile, and that was when he finally told her the truth. Years ago, Edward had grown up in an orphanage. He knew exactly what it felt like to grow up without family or support. So after he became successful, he made a promise. He would spend his life helping children who had no one. The building Clara was looking at was one of many homes and education centers Edward secretly funded. He paid for their homes, food, and education. Clara felt something she hadn't expected. Shame. She had married Edward thinking about money. But he wasn't defined by wealth. He was defined by kindness. From that day forward, Clara's perspective changed. Instead of luxury, she began helping Edward with his mission. Together, they visited the schools. Years later, when asked why she married Edward, she smiled and said, "I thought I married a rich man, but I married the richest heart I've known, because sometimes the greatest wealth in the world isn't money. It's the lives you choose to change." Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.